Hey everyone, welcome to the very first episode of the podcast. My name is Tony Golick. I'm a member of the 212 Brew Club, and
I am Brandon Winninger, also a member of the 212 Brew Club.
And our podcast is about homebrewing and craft beer. So welcome. Hey Brandon, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing great. We just finished up brewing Belgian Tripel, which is kind of in the future from what this episode actually says, because we recorded the interview yesterday, and now we're in the future.
Yeah. So that was kind of the thing we decided. We actually have a special guest on our first episode, and so kind of the format we were looking at is having people pick their favorite styles of beer. And again, that's when we're going to be having like a guest. Favorite style was Belgian Tripel, so the idea was to brew that and then come back and revisit that with that same person just to kind of get their opinion on that style of beer that we created. So, we talked about that, and then we realized that we needed to do the intro.
And that's what we're doing now. So this is the intro to the very first episode, and I want to thank Stephanie for coming on to the show and letting us sit inside Fannie's, drink 3 Belgian Triples, and talk about it, and talk about Fannie's, and just kind of hang out. It was a fun night. Did you have a good time?
I did.
Yeah, this was a good first episode, and I'm looking forward to what the other ones are going to sound like, I guess.
Yeah. And as we said, so every episode is not going to have a special guest. We do like, it kind of breaks up the format, I feel. It'll give us something different to talk about instead of always just focusing on the homebrew aspect. But we do have a lot of friends that own businesses in the city of Chicago. That's where we're located. If you're not reading any descriptions that we may have up.
You just stumbled upon this. I'm going to start listening.
Hey, who are these jerks? But we have friends that own restaurants, food trucks, lots of friends in the brewing industry. And that's kind of where we want to take this, is just kind of just talking to our friends about the kind of beers that they like and how they got started with their businesses and, what their passion with beer is. Because, both Tony and I are very passionate about beer, not only just, drinking beer, but also brewing beer. So I think that'll be a fun way for us to kind of come together and, make some interesting topics and content to deliver to you guys.
Yeah, and piggybacking off that, the first idea I had, and I actually had Clark, give credit where credit is due. Clark, a friend of mine, had an idea to do a podcast where we'd talk about music, sports, and beer, and friends that we knew. And that kind of gave me the idea of what it would be like when friends were sitting around in that same idea of, people who own businesses or people who liked beer. All these people that we plan on talking to, we've sat around and had beers with and had some great conversations. And I kind of just wanted to feel like we're sitting around drinking beers and talking. Hey, this is the first time you and I are sitting face to face.
I know.
I kind of like this.
Yeah, no, it's different, but it probably is more appropriate.
It looks like we're having an actual conversation instead of sitting side by side where we have to turn and look at each other.
Yeah, and the whole holding hands thing was a little weird too. So
I like that. We can still do that. Yeah,
you gotta reach across the table.
We did multiple test runs for this podcast, and now here we are. So I think we've got a better grasp on what we're doing and what we want to do. So let's get into the interview with Stephanie Rybandt, the owner of Fannie's, which is a restaurant, coffee shop, boutique, bakery, you name it, they're doing it on the northwest side of Chicago. And we're talking about Belgian Tripels.
Awesome.
It is awesome. Here we are in beautiful neighborhood. So this is in between Portage Park and Jefferson Park.
Yeah, we're on the border. There's they fight on the street. It's like the Jets and the Sharks out there.
That's awesome.
Portage Park.
I don't remember that working here.
Well, it's funny because when you get off the highway at Lawrence, it says "Welcome to Jefferson Park," like right when you get off the highway. Yeah. And where that sign is placed, your assumption is that Jefferson Park goes south of Lawrence.
It's a lie.
I know, but just
Well,
the way it looks.
Depending on what apparently there's multiple maps. This is a huge controversy, actually. But I like to think we're equal opportunity and we love both neighborhoods.
That's very patriotic. We are here at Fannie's. What's the address? I've worked here. I don't know the address.
5041?
5040.
5040. Oh,
5040.
5041's my address. That's why I always screw that up.
Is that why you're always knocking on the door across the street when you come here?
Hey, I thought this is where I get brunch.
Oh, you guys got the pizza oven working? Let me in.
Thank God. Well, we are here at Fannie's. Brandon and I are here with Stephanie Rybandt, who is the owner, proprietor, head, everything of Fannie's on the northwest side of Chicago. And we have been friends for a long time.
Yeah, you're my oldest friend.
You're my oldest friend. We figured this out when? When did we figure this out?
When we were cooking in the kitchen and we were really tired.
'Cause that's when all great ideas
Yeah.
and thoughts come into your head. Yeah, that's right.
You've been my friend since 3rd grade.
Yeah, that's a long time. I don't know if I think I was kind of friends with John Brady in 2nd grade. I think that was more like, hey,
He's got me by 1 year. That's cool. Whatever.
if anybody's going to have you by 1 year, it's going to be John Brady.
I'll give
And
it to
then, Brandon, do you only know Stephanie through here, through Fannie's?
Not for you, but
Well, through me, yeah, but I thought you knew, or maybe beforehand. But regardless, we're here, and we are going to talk about, I'm going to be honest, a beer style that I don't really like.
Oh,
Right?
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
that's the big spoiler. We're talking about Belgian
Oh.
Tripels, and the reason why is that
I didn't even know that.
I'm not even a big fan of Belgian beers, but I like Belgian quads because they're like barley wines. I like barley wines; they're delicious.
Okay.
I don't know, but the beer that I brought today is the one that I like the most, and the one you have is very good, and the one that Brandon has, I'm assuming, is also pretty good. But we brought you on to talk about. Well, we're here in your restaurant, but we brought you on to talk about Fannie's.
Yep.
And the only beer you like to drink are Belgian Tripels.
Our Belgian Tripels.
And I'm going to cut you off. You're about to say something. Just because you're our guest doesn't mean you get to talk all the time. Tomorrow, I will be brewing my first Belgian Triple in honor of this show to kind of wrap in the whole home brewing experience.
You're just hoping that you like it.
I think I will. And actually, I'm going to have you guys be the judge of it when it's finally done fermenting and it's ready to serve. I think the three of us should get back together and do a side recording of tasting of it, since we're going to discuss it tonight.
I think it's a good idea because you've been promising to brew a triple ever since you introduced me to triples, because you are the one that introduced me to triples, which is now my favorite beer.
Which is mind-blowing considering the fact that you don't like them. So for that to be the beer that you introduce somebody to, like...
But that's what's so cool about Tony, because Tony became like my beer guy before you guys were brewing and everything. So I don't know a lot about beer still, but I'm learning from Tony, and he is so good because he will listen to what you kind of like and don't like as you taste things, and then he'll bring you something and say, no, you're gonna probably like this. And that's what he did.
You hear that? Someone's complimenting me.
It's true. You're very good at that.
Thank
You're
you. I
very
appreciate
good
it.
at
Well, it's funny because I learned a lot of that stuff
Note the
from...
time, 6:54. Tony got a compliment. January 11th,
The
2019.
funny thing about that is that I know more about craft beer because of Brandon and Mike. Mike and I kind of started getting into craft beer and trying different beer styles together. And when Brandon was working at Fishman's, when it was originally over officially in Jefferson Park, it's no longer in Jefferson Park now.
Even that was up for a debate.
Is that?
Yeah, people debated. They're like, you're actually in Portage Park. Because some people consider Lawrence Avenue the dividing line.
Yeah.
That is so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
There's no.
Also, this MGD is just not coming
are
up.
you-
It's not coming
Yeah.
up great. I just burped and it was...
When do we get to?
We're gonna get to it. We're gonna
Okay.
get to it.
Okay.
But yeah, when you were working there at Fishman's, you turned me on to some good beers, and I think one of the first ones was Lagunitas Brown Sugar. I remember that one specifically being super tasty, and that kind of got me into it. So look at that, we just came full circle. And now, who are you turning on to beer? Anybody?
She's only got one style to turn people on to. So.
Try this triple. It's so good.
Yeah, well, now it's kind of bad because I've become this like beer pusher, like
Drink this.
encouraging everyone to drink triples, which we all know have a pretty high alcohol content, and so it's become trouble. Like Steph's gonna drink beer with me, and then it's deceiving because you drink one, but it's kind of
Like drinking.
2 or 3.
It's like drinking 3 of these awesome MGDs. Oh,
Right.
it's so good.
So now it's like I'm dangerous to drink beer with because
Nice.
I'm a triple pusher.
Well, and then you just revealed to me that you haven't drank Golden Monkey, Victory's Golden Monkey, in a long
in a
time.
while.
Because that was your
I had too
jam.
many monkeys. It was my jam. I jammed too many monkeys. So
Sounds like a personal
that's
problem.
so bad.
Note the time, 6:56. She admitted to jamming too many
I
monkeys.
jammed too many monkeys. Although Golden Monkey is really good,
Yeah, I like
but
Golden
it's
Monkey.
not my favorite triple.
Did you bring your favorite triple?
I
Or
did
do we
bring-
have, do one of us have your favorite triple? Well, you never had the Allagash.
I haven't had the Allagash, and I do like Allagash beer.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite triple is the one that I brought. Are we revealing them yet?
Let's do it. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Go
You want
ahead.
to get into this?
Yeah.
All right. Let's break out these glasses here. Hey, can you serve us at your restaurant? Thanks.
You should be serving. Oh, come be on my podcast, Steph,
Oh.
and bring your own beer and open your restaurant.
That's how we do it.
Yeah.
We're just in it for the free
I'm-
stuff.
I'm honored.
The free glassware.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We get to keep these when we leave.
Free
right?
water.
All right. So you're already just drinking one.
Yeah.
So this is the one to open. Okay.
Yeah.
Where did I put my keys? Over here. I wanted to move all the noisy stuff away. Let's go ahead. There we go. All right. So what did you bring us, Steph?
I brought, is it lait or la?
I think it's La.
La Fin du Monde. So this is the first triple I ever tasted. You brought it to my birthday party. And you were like, you're going to like
There's
this.
history.
And it was that, like, what are, I don't know,
You
how
already
many.
have a bottle, so I don't know what you.
Yeah, I don't need, I don't need that. But I don't know how the big bottles,
Yeah.
I don't know how many ounces those are, but it was one of those big bottles. And
I think
we
it's a
shared it.
750 milliliter.
Okay. Yeah. And we shared it, and I was like, this is amazing. And then it became my favorite beer to drink. And then you got really mad when.
I drank them all.
Well, there was a snarky millennial at that party,
Oh, this is my favorite story.
and we were drinking. Now, this beer has won some award, right? Or it had that year.
It is at one point at least. Well, I know it's got a 99 on Beer Advocate, but it was like number 1 beer in the world as far as like Belgian beers go. Not over like Westie or anything, but it was like because they're Canadian, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're a Canadian brewery. But it's one of the top rated beers. Now,
Yeah.
that's
So
now come and gone.
obviously, like, very, very good beer. And the unnamed snarky millennial at the party took a sip of it and called it Pedestrian. To which Tony took great offense, and we had to like remove Tony from the situation because he was so angry at this assessment of the beer.
That's hilarious.
Well, and the reason why I was so pissed about it is he
Like you're
goes,
gonna remove the millennial."
This is,
Well, that kind of happened too.
he removed himself. He had said, "Oh, this is so pedestrian. I'm sorry, I've just been drinking a lot of like 15% bourbon barrel aged beers lately, so this just isn't cutting it." I'm like, you fucking kidding me, man? So
You were extremely offended,
I was.
but so
I'm
that
shitty.
will always
People
be
are
the story
jerks.
that I attached to this
Beer.
beer, but it is actually my favorite because then I went off and tried a lot of other triples, and this is still my favorite.
yeah, and the first thing, like when I take a sip of it, the first taste I always get from this beer is like banana and clove. Is that what you?
See, and this is what I was talking about when we did the original, the Hefeweizen,
Yeah.
the 2 Weissmen that we brewed, and then there was Belgian Triple, but banana was like the key thing. We didn't capture it, I don't think, as much in the Hefeweizen, but
And we wanted to get the bubble gum too.
yeah. I think though, like if you nail if your recipe with your
Nail
recipe,
something.
I'm not even saying it.
Will it be monkeys?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just bring it full circle. But if we nail the banana in the brew that you're going to be doing tomorrow, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and then I ended up getting a dry yeast that I never seen before. It's from I'm an asshole for not knowing who I buy from. You know all the dry yeast, what was it, SO4 and USO5, those dry yeasts.
The safe.
Yeah, what's the name of the Fermentus?
Oh.
I think that's the name of it. But they had one that was $7, but it was like an Abbey ale yeast, and it is supposed to ferment fast and can go up to 11% alcohol.
Ooh.
And just need one of the little satchels of it or sachets of it, however.
Slab pack or whatever.
No, it's not a slab pack. Yeah, it's not a slab. It's just the dry yeast. Like rip it open and dump it in, like the red packets that we use
nice.
USO5. So
The alcohol content on this one is
9%.
9%.
9%. Okay.
So I feel like that was something that you liked about it too. Was that it was high alcohol,
Well,
but it tasted good.
Yeah, because when you're watching your calories, you can have one beer and get the same bang for your buck in terms of alcohol
Well, I
content.
mean,
I'm
usually the
pretty
calorie
sure
content is
still,
like
yeah.
3 times as high as the other beers.
Don't
so.
ruin it for me. I'm just having one beer instead of 3, and to me that is somehow better.
That's a good idea. Like if
I
you
don't
have
know.
if you have a 15% Bourbon County, I mean that's only
Yeah.
840 calories per beer, something
Yeah.
like that. No, it's like 3.
I
It
don't
is,
know
it
that
is
I-
a shit ton.
I've actually never really looked up the calories. I just made that work in my head for me.
No, and I don't think it's that. I mean, this one probably would be, I mean, a 12 ounce about, I don't know, 200 calories, maybe 150. But
But I
but,
digress.
well, the other thing is, it's like you like whiskey too. So I know
Yeah.
more people that like, that are spirits drinkers or whatever, or hard liquor, tend to go towards the higher alcohol content
And
beers,
I
or the
am
higher
because-
ABV beers. So
Yeah.
Yeah, beer fills me up. It always has.
Yeah.
So I like, and so I am a whiskey drinker. And then when I do want beer, this is what I drink.
So basically, if you're alcoholic, you just go for the beer that gets you fucked up faster. Is what we're saying.
No.
I
I'm
mean,
not
it's a
going-
good theory. Like,
I'm gonna stick with my calorie theory, and
That's
you
good.
can roll with your.
So all right. So other than the beer, tell us about Fannie's.
Okay.
How's that for a fucking segue?
That- we're-
Boom. That's how you do it. Professionals.
That was
Let me Go
good.
back to this MGD.
Well, while we finish the beer I brought, I guess it's appropriate.
I'm gonna open up this one
to
while
talk about
while you're-
Fannie's.
Yeah, talk about Fannie's. Go ahead.
Fannie's is a coffee shop, bakery, cafe, catering company, whose mission is crafting community. We believe in making things from scratch and making things with your hands and sharing it. And so that's what we do here. And we make really good food, and we make really good baked goods, and we have really good coffee. Like, I don't know what else to say about Fannie's.
It's really good.
I just feel like
coffee.
everything's really good.
It is. It is really good.
I don't think anyone's ever asked me to talk about Fannie's after I drink a triple.
Okay, how about this? Why don't you tell people how it started? I know how it started. How long has this location's been open?
3
years
years.
now.
Yeah.
The Eisenhower Library has been open for
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, I've been
I was
in
about to
business.
say 4.
No, I've been in business for 7.5 years.
Jesus Christ, it doesn't feel that long.
I know. It
But I'm
does
sure
and
it
it
feels like
doesn't. Like,
forever, yeah.
it feels like it's just so brand new still, but then at the same time, it feels like I've been doing this forever. But I love it. I mean,
And you and Joe started doing farmers markets originally, right?
yeah, so we started just doing farmers markets. We made these really great cookies, and I didn't want to have a boss anymore. And when you talk about
That's how you do it.
well, you know,
Start
when
your own business.
you talk about that fake thing. Do you ever say like, "Oh, when I have my whatever," and you don't really think it'll actually ever happen? It's just this fake thing that you talk about every day, like when
Yeah.
I have my mansion on the beach, or when I have my whatever. So I mean,
Mansion on the beach.
I'm gonna mention the beach.
since I was a kid, like literally since I was a kid, I was always talk about when I have my shop. When I have my shop, I'm going to have these recipes, and I'm going to make soup every day, and I'm going to sell our cookies. And my family had all these great recipes that we make every year just for the family. So then I was like, well, let's sell it at a farmer's market and see if
You're talking
this
about
would
the
work.
cookies and stuff
Yeah,
at that point, yeah.
all of the recipes. But I was like, well, we'll start with cookies, and
Mm.
we'll go to a farmer's market. And if people buy them, I'll start a business. And if no one buys them, I'll know that we just think they're good, and I won't start a business.
Wow, that is putting
So-
a lot of eggs
Yeah.
in that.
I had
Yeah,
a
we'll just see. It's very
So
black and white,
that was like
50-50 chance of
kind
this
of my
ever
plan.
happening. Wow.
So I contacted the local farmer's market over in Portage Park, and I kind of made it seem like I had been in business for a while when I really hadn't. I was like, hey, we make these handmade gourmet cookies. Can we sell them at your farmer's market? And
Smooth.
they said yeah.
I make these in my kitchen.
So then I
Kind of in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So then I had a bank. You know, you collect your change, and I had a bank, and it was in the shape of Elvis Presley. And
You still have that bank?
I do. It was 3 feet tall, and I took it to my bank to cash it in. And you would think that I would have put it in something like less conspicuous, but I walked into the bank with a 3-foot Elvis Presley.
I'm here to cash out Elvis.
And I was like, I need to cash this out. And I think it was like $260 or something like that.
Damn.
And we bought all the ingredients, and we did a farmer's market, and we sold out of the cookies.
That's awesome.
And I was like, well, shit, we're going to start a business now. So that was 7.5 years ago. And now we have 2 locations. We supply 5 other coffee shops. We're a catering company. We're a restaurant. We were just on Chicago's Best.
Yeah.
For best biscuits and gravy. Like, we've come a really long way in 7 years
That's awesome.
from my Elvis bank, which I still have and occasionally still pays for supplies.
You should definitely either come up with some type of special or baked good or something that has to do with like a 3-foot Elvis, or call it a 3-foot Elvis head or something like that, just to
Tribute to it.
Yeah. Let's see how this goes.
Oh, hey.
I think it's spiked.
And so that was what?
Oh, this is. Oh, wait.
What'd you
Someone's
do?
trying to take my job here. I don't even know how actually. I think you pronounce it.
La fin du monde.
No, not that one. How do you pronounce that?
Triple Carmelite.
Carmelite. I always want to say Carmelite. So Triple Carmelite, I actually bought recently and brought over to your recent birthday,
Yeah.
your 28th birthday.
Sure, we'll go with that. Being
I brought
the
that
one
over
it was.
because it's become a tradition when I come by to find maybe a triple that you haven't had, and I feel like I keep striking out that you've had them all.
I've now tried them. I know you brought it to
Yeah,
my
so I gotta
birthday.
brew
It's
one.
like,
Yeah.
Tone, it was
I know.
great.
And I've never had it, and it turns out that I really, really like this one. And
Typically ladies first, but you know, whatever.
that's why I'm going with you. I think you're a very pretty lady.
She just called you a dude.
No, I didn't call her a dude. I'm just saying you're a very pretty lady.
Should I not do that?
You can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want.
I just pour it, you know? Just pour it now. I know.
There's actually like a guide on this
I know
bottle.
that one
like,
specifically
on-
because that has shit sitting in the bottom of it, and I don't think this does. It does not. So I'm hoping. What I remember from this, so I only had it once, and it was at your birthday.
Is that the first time you had it?
Yeah, it's the first time I ever had
Wow.
it. And she had already had it, and I was like, "Hey, I've never tried that." She's like, "Oh, that's a good one." And I was like, "What the fuck, man?"
You should be proud of me for that.
I was
though,
proud,
you know?
but I was also like trying to find something like, "Hey, I still got it." Apparently, I don't. And I remember this one being, yeah, even just the smell of it off the bat there. To me, it's not as spicy and clovey, and that's what I think I don't care about triples. Care for with triples. I like the more banana ester and kind of that bubblegum flavor and aroma you get from, which I think is what comes through.
Well, that's why I feel like Hefeweizens are like really just beefed up, or like Belgian triples are like beefed up Hefeweizens, which
Yeah.
it's the base grain is all more or less the same. So
Yeah, what I put together. So the recipe that I put together, I found online. I forget who originally did it, but I was looking up Belgian recipes to kind of use as a starting point, and this one looked pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I have it on my phone, but I don't have it in front of me. But I think it's going to be pretty basic. It's a little bit different than our 2 Weissman, the
Yeah.
Hefeweizen beer. But all right, you guys already took a sip.
ahead, taste it.
Did you try?
I feel like I'm a bad guest when it comes to tasting because everyone else can describe flavors like banana and bubblegum, and I'm terrible at that. And I say things like, it tastes kind of like woozy and hee. And like,
sometimes I make words.
it's like I'm...
Personifications? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so funny because I cook for a living and I bake for a living, and when it comes to food, I'm great at finding flavors, but not in beer. I'm terrible at it.
Well, Brando, I'm not very, and I said it when we were first trying to do some test recordings for this, if we were going to figure out if we were going to do this or not, that one of the first ones we did, I said, I'm not very good at identifying flavors, but the more you and I have been doing it, and the more that I'm paying attention to it through brewing, I think I am picking up. Like, this to me does have that bubblegum
Yeah.
type of flavor.
See, when I when I first started getting into craft beer, I actually had a beer blog that I ran for a long time.
Is it still up online?
No.
Man, it would have been great to
So,
read that.
and my whole goal was to describe things for like the dumb people because I didn't know how to use
For
like
the-
the,
Brandon.
well, no, it's like I was like because I myself didn't know like, oh, it's got such a
We like to call
the
it
aroma
a
is so
palate
effervescent or like I was like I don't know words like that and like those don't come to my head right away. I'm like I sip it, I'm like the shit's good. Like why is it good? Like I don't know. Like and I'm and then you describe
Tastes
like the
good.
flavors that you can think of.
Yeah.
That it kind of reminds you of versus like when I first started drinking I would have been like that's some damn banana in there like I just
You do a southern accent
Yeah.
every time. There's some damn banana in there.
well hot damn it's got some bananas so I would do that all the time and then it was kind of funny because that's how when I was working for Fishman's that blog actually became their first website. So
Is that the website that's still kind of up?
no
Because I think you can still access their old website.
no because I took it down I think so.
For a while, I thought it was still up.
It was for a while. So I actually took that down, and the whole thing was filled with blog posts. And like I would do videos, like reviews and stuff like that for a while. And people, like, there's a couple guys that would come into Fishman's and be like, "Dude, your reviews are awesome because they're just so straight to the point, and like I don't have to read through all the bullshit that other people talk about
cool.
in beer
I didn't
reviews."
know that.
And I was like, "Sweet." So
That
then,
is helpful.
so then I kept doing them, and then like at one point Shannon was like, "Can you not do those anymore?" And I was like, "Okay." She's like, "They're kind of clogging up the website." And I was like, "All right." So I stopped doing it.
Time to go on.
So,
Branch off.
wham, wham.
No, but that would be very helpful for. I don't want to call us the dumb people. I'm going to call us like the palate descriptor challenged people. That
It's not even that.
I don't know how to.
Because you can take classes on like how to identify those things. So, some people just flavors and you taste things and you like it, but
I wonder
if you take those classes. Like there's been classes where they like literally you do tastings on like certain parts of your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get that identification there when you're drinking something, right away that's what it is that you're drinking.
Oh, what to call it? And
Yes.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. It also
But I
makes
don't have the
sense-
patience to
do
do
that.
that. I don't have the patience to do that.
It also makes sense that you guys, because you're brewers, and so you have the ingredients, you know what's in there, and so then you know what to look for and find when you're tasting something. Like if I make a cookie and I put a lot of vanilla in it or something, then when I taste it, I'm like, oh, that's vanilla. Whereas with beer, I had no
See,
idea.
I'm dumb. I said that's vanilla-y.
I say it's wowee.
I didn't know anything about making beer or what the ingredients were or anything. So I've actually learned a lot from you guys with that too. And when we made our beer, when Fanny's made a beer, and I got to put chocolate cake in it.
At Lake Effect, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. That was crazy. How many chocolate cakes? So you guys made an imperial stout that was going into bourbon barrels.
It's in a bourbon barrel, yeah.
Or one bourbon barrel, and that's gonna be a limited release. How many chocolate cakes ended up in that, like whole sheet pans, right? And how many of them? 6 full.
Were they frosted or just the cake?
No, it's just the cake.
Yeah, because I was going to say that'd be really oily with
Yeah.
the frosting.
So now we know we can put full
Yeah.
cakes in beer, depending on how this beer turns out. Clint, when are you releasing it? You should try
Hope
by
soon.
Valentine's. Oh, just joking.
Edit.
But do it.
No, but I didn't know what like a mash was. I didn't know any of that stuff. So now I'm.
You
starting
haven't
to
been around when we brewed, right? I think I've
No.
told you about it, but there was never a time. Well,
Yeah.
I brew at random times when either A, you're working, or B, sleeping.
That's all I do.
Right.
Or this podcast.
We dragged you out tonight, which we
I-
appreciate,
yeah,
by the way.
I work, sleep, and podcast, I guess. But
You could brew one day in the back of the shop. We're here.
You know,
When you first opened, I was like, man, I could totally brew in here when we're not working. This would be great. And then
we
it was
were
like,
never
So
done.
you're bragging about like, I've got the keys. You can just go over there and start doing stuff.
hey, I'm just going to go brew. I'll be right back.
I'll
I have
use
to
the
be here in a
stove.
couple hours to cook all freaking
Hey,
weekend.
brew a beer and sleep under the, go sleep in the pizza oven / bed
Tony's on the weekend.
/ storage
That's what,
area.
yeah. I was about to say we call it. I call it
Oh.
Tony's on the weekend.
That's secretly where he goes if his wife ever kicks him out.
He's
I
sleeping
just
in
come
our
and sleep.
brick oven. Tony, get out of the brick oven.
The one day they decide we're gonna light this up.
Oh, God.
Tony's in there.
So as a background, I used to work here. I was a cook for a while, and it was a lot of fun. And then I couldn't take working 7 days a week anymore. You
Tell
can.
me about
I mean, you can't, but you can.
I don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice. But I couldn't.
Well,
I couldn't do it.
background to that is that you were like a Fannie's savior because
What?
because I had hired somebody to be the head cook and run the kitchen, and then he quit the day before grand opening.
Oh, did he? I don't remember that.
Yeah, and so you jumped in and helped me develop the menu and turn this into a restaurant.
It was a lot of fun, and you've done a great job.
Thanks.
We're just here to pat each other on the back. That's what tonight's all about, guys.
I'm just gazing out at Bocce,
Oh,
thinking about those large slices of delicious pizza.
I really feel the love.
This is not a paid
like
ad.
he's not here for biscuits and gravy.
Yeah, well, I was.
Hey, I was here on opening day or
Yeah,
weekend at least.
Yeah, a lot of people. I remember seeing a lot of people on opening weekend, and I remember one of the things.
I remember ordering something, and Mike was behind me. I'm like, "What are you doing here?"
I remember Mike being like, service was kind of slow. Everything was fine. My eggs were kind of cold. And I was like, okay, was the food good though? He's like, yeah, it was good. Like, well, of course, dude. None of us have ever.
It was our first day, and we got so
but
many people were here.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
That grand opening, I just wanted to hide under the desk. I will let everyone know that now.
Yeah.
It was very overwhelming, and I thought maybe I should just hide under the desk.
The worst was trying to crank out the eggs in the cloud during that time.
It's not on the menu anymore.
It should be though. It's so much easier to make now.
What are eggs in the cloud?
It is basically like, is it just you beat the shit out of these egg whites?
Whipped egg whites with.
Beat the shit out of these egg whites.
And then what else is it?
I forget. Then you put the yolk in the middle of it.
And there's ham somewhere.
Or no, the whites go into the oven, I think.
We're gonna do this tomorrow.
Look it up.
You can look it up. It's all over the internet.
It's if you're making one or two at home, it's totally cool. It looks cool. I think the whites, you whip them, kind of put them in like this puff form into the oven, let them bake, then add the yolk and some ham on top.
The idea is it looks like the sun and a cloud.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Eggs in the cloud.
Which is a huge.
Kind of made that
I was hoping you put that together.
connection.
But the moral of the story is, it's not on the menu, so don't come here and try to get it.
It's on the secret. It's on the secret menu. If you want to come in here and
If Tony's behind the counter,
if I'm ever if there's one of the few times where I'm back
eggs in
here,
the cloud.
somebody order eggs.
Tony's
in the
gonna be
cloud.
like, let me look it up on the internet.
I will
how to do it.
See, I really like this one. This one I like more than, as I was saying, this one I'm talking about the Carla. Was it?
Carmelite?
Carmelite. I don't want to say Carmelite. It's an idiot. I like it more than Le Fin du Monde. Le Fin du Monde.
Maybe I just feel fancier.
Maybe. I don't know. Before we get to yours,
You're Canadian.
I want to take a break.
Belgian.
I'm calling a break right now. Break time.
Break time.
And we're back. So Tony and we're still sipping on the triple Carmelite, whatever you want to call it.
You said Carmelite.
I know,
was
but now
saying
it's like
Carmelite.
every time somebody says it differently, I'm like, is that right?
If anybody knows the right way to say it, you can email us at. I don't have an email set up for us yet.
What?
We don't. No, we don't. It's
Well,
two.
you're on social media. They
Well,
can
it's two.
message you on
It's
it.
212brewclub@gmail.com, and you know what? That's what Brandon and I are the only ones who check any of it. So, feel free to shoot us an email. The number 2, the word 12, and Brew Club after it. Which, by the way, Ron is very adamant about changing it to the 212 Brewery, home brewery.
Yeah.
Which, yes, I am for, but man, that means we got to start a whole new email.
Yeah.
Who wants to start a new email?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I'm not part of it. So.
We are more of a home. Shift the mic. We are more like a home brewery. The whole idea behind it was that we're not like a regular brew club, because normal brew clubs, everybody brews a beer, comes together, they drink it, they talk about it. Maybe they brew a beer together every now and then. We specifically, when we get together, brew the beer together, and that's it. Like it's like more like a brewery than a brew club.
I mean,
Whatever. We can.
Who cares?
That's for another time.
yeah. Who cares?
It should be like a team.
212 team. Hi, we're the 212 brew team.
Brew team.
Brew team assemble.
Anyways, I was told.
Pedals out.
I like that.
This is awesome.
I was. You told me I put you on the spot. So, and Brandon actually had a question. So we're still working out the kinks of how we do this. Brandon, you had a question for Stephanie.
Yeah, I don't remember what the question was. No, I'm joking.
Fucking jerk.
So, so you were talking about when you first got started after depleting Elvis of his funds.
Depleting Elvis of his
So,
head.
how did the library fall into play?
Yeah, so we have a small, we have a cafe and a library. It's in Harwood Heights. It's the Eisenhower Public Library. It's a really badass library.
I actually, side note, I actually drove by there the other day. The first time I drove by it and actually saw the sign in the window, and me and Becca were there. I was like, oh my God, there it is.
There's Fannie's. Yeah.
And she's like, why is it in the library? I'm like, I don't know, it's just in a fucking library.
So, well, here's the thing.
Get
like,
coffee in the library.
when you start a business with an Elvis bank, you don't, and you're bootstrapping, you can't really afford a brick and mortar storefront in Chicago. I mean, you don't, it's extremely difficult to go from farmer's market table to Chicago storefront. You know what I mean? Like, but it was getting to the point where we had done like a year of farmer's markets. We were in a shared kitchen. The shared kitchen was crowded. You know, I was like,
Oh, I remember this shit. You guys
Yeah.
talking about the shared kitchen for all the.
it was hard. Like, you had to lug your stuff. I mean, imagine all the things you use for baking, right? And then imagine lugging that to a kitchen every day. So, like, I would work my day job from, like, 8 to 6. And then I would go to the supply store, buy a bunch of stuff for baking, drive to the shared kitchen, bake all night. And then we would do, like, a market, or we would have orders or whatever. Because at this point, I was building the business. And then we would bake all night. I would make deliveries in the morning because we were supplying a few coffee shops, and then I would go back to my day job. So it was getting a little bit crazy. I was like, we need a place, you know. So at the same time, one of our customers actually was a librarian. And the Eisenhower Library, which they rebuilt that building in 2005, and when they built it, they put this little cafe space in there, and it was becoming available. And she told us about it. And I was like, oh, that would be a great in-between. You know, we can't afford a storefront. The shared kitchen thing isn't working out because we're growing. So we had to have a meeting with the board of directors of the Eisenhower Library and kind of pitch the idea of what we do, and they thought it was great. So we moved in. And so we are the only, and we looked this up because when you work with librarians, they look shit up. Like, they, if you know a librarian, they are the coolest people ever.
You got so much information.
I do.
They'll, if you say, oh, I wonder if, they will look that up for you. So we found out that.
I know you asked this yesterday, so I spent this afternoon looking it up.
That's what they do, and it's so, I mean, it's
That's
great,
awesome.
though. It's so awesome. I have to say that I would not be where I am right now if I didn't have a team of librarians helping me. Like, honest to God, you know? Anyway, so we moved in there. It's 600 square feet, and we became the only fully functioning bakery inside of a library in the whole country,
That's pretty awesome.
which is like a super cool thing.
Oh, wow.
So when you walk into Eisenhower Library, you smell like fresh baked goods. And how cool is that? Like, if you were studying or doing homework, or maybe you're just there to grab a book because you have a day off, you can sit in this really cozy corner in Fannie's cafe in the library with a fresh baked good and a new book, and it turned out great. So we wound up doing this cool thing where we were a bakery inside of a library, which was really fun to explain when I was getting a business license.
So here's the thing.
But it was actually a great partnership because, you know, we pay rent. We're independent of the library. We're just located inside of it, but it's a really small space, so it was affordable. and it absolutely made it possible to continue to grow the business and then expand to what we have now. And I will always keep it. I love it. That is like where Fannie started for real.
Yeah, as you're telling the story, and I remember when you guys opened up, how's this for putting you on the spot? If you had the choice where you were in the position where you could choose what spot you had to be at and run full time, which one would it be?
Man.
Like if you could pass off. So we're sitting in the actual restaurant because people, whoever's listening, know we're in the actual restaurant space.
Yeah.
It's closed after hours.
Yeah.
We're super cool. No one else is here, just the three of us. And it's a pretty large space.
Yeah.
And in comparison to the Eisenhower spot, what spot would you rather be? Not rather, would you rather, but if you had the option, I guess, which one would you be?
Which would I pick? That's like asking to pick what kid you love more.
Yeah,
You know what I
my
mean?
mom
Like,
picks me, so that's obvious. My dad
It's
picks me,
really
that's
hard.
obvious.
Okay.
I pick Mackenzie, that's obvious.
Well, that's easy.
I've got cats, Stephanie. I have cats I have to choose too.
So hard. I'm gonna insert another quick story
Okay.
because you asked
Sure,
this
sure,
question. When I was writing the business plan for the expansion, because I knew that I always wanted to have a restaurant, like this cafe space that felt like you were eating at my house, right? I wanted this. It's comfortable. I like to host. I like to host people. I like to make people feel comfortable and happy, and that's the idea here. And so when I was writing the business plan for this, I wrote, and no one ever saw it because no one wound up ever reading it, except like me and my husband, but I wrote that I wanted to be the heartbeat of the neighborhood. That I wanted.
Looking for a heartbeat.
Yeah, I didn't say it like that, but I should have. 1 year after we were here,
Here in
here in the Montrose location, the expanded location, we got this award from the alderman, the best of 45th business, and they wrote in their announcement of the award that we were the heartbeat of the neighborhood.
Whoa.
And I
Grab a tissue, everybody.
Yeah.
We all just had a moment.
So it was just this huge thing where, I mean, nobody saw that. Nobody.
Yeah, that's
That's
crazy.
just something I wrote in the business plan, and you give it to the bank and they don't read it. So, like, you know.
Great, whatever, you want to open a business.
So I love the library location because we have this great relationship with the librarians and the staff and the patrons, and it's cozy, and it's where we started, and there's so much history there of baking overnight, being in the library when it's closed, but we have to bake overnight because it's so small, but we're growing and there's nothing else we can do, and blasting Led Zeppelin through the library while we, like, it just has this special place in my heart. The expansion was the realization of my full vision of this thing I dreamed about since I was a kid, and then it got validated in this way that I couldn't have predicted. So I don't think I can genuinely answer that
I was
question.
going to say, now that you laid that other side, the story you inserted there about receiving, that award and it being the heartbeat of the neighborhood, I guess it is tough.
It's tough to say.
Yeah, I don't know if I could.
But so they're both special in their own ways, and yeah.
Well, both of them are great, and I remember the opening of the Eisenhower location. I remember coming in here for the first time. I remember helping your dad replace some tiles up there and watching the Cubs play playoffs at Bocce's TV across the street.
Through the window across the street.
Yeah, that was good. And you've come a really long way, and it is a great spot. And, I mean, family and friends who I know that come here, even after, originally I thought, it's like, oh, they're just coming because I'm here, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I have an ego. No, just like nice and supporting. And they still come. And people still come here. And Brandon, I know you come here. You come here a lot.
Brandon
don't you? Like, you're down the
his
street, man.
post-wedding brunch here, which was awesome.
2 days before, I had a pinched sciatic nerve. I'll never forget your wedding,
Brandon's
Brandon.
wedding crippled you.
Oh, God. Ask Laura. Laura never wants me to do the sweet-ass dances I was doing those
don't
ever
stop
again.
dancing.
No, not stop dancing. That particular dance, which it was intense, but we just kept dancing. Okay? So Brandon,
Brandon, you haven't heard him talk for a while.
Holy booze, Batman.
We're gonna sidestep your Fannie's story there. What did you? Which one did you just open?
I brought the Allagash Curio. I want to see if it has a date on it.
I thought it said on the front. Am I wrong about that?
Yes, possibly. But it is definitely at least 2012-ish, maybe 13.
So 6 to 7 years old is what you're saying.
Roughly.
Outstanding. Ooh, take a sip of the MGD after you've been drinking the triple. It actually improves the taste.
I'm not gonna of the MGD.
It does.
The triple.
It's kind of like cereal now.
Oh, wow.
Like,
That's shocking.
right? Like it almost. I'm not saying it's good by any means.
It tastes like a rich man's pee.
Oh. You are good at descriptors.
I told you.
He's good at describing.
I do words good.
He's good at describing what pee tastes like. Okay, so you have this in your cellar, correct?
Yes.
One of the many beers we've drank from your cellar that you're depleting. Ron's depleting his. Emil's depleting his. No longer is it cool to have cellars of beer for more than a year. It's
I
get
get
rid of
that.
all your beer.
Not only that, it takes up space in your house.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah, you have a whole little back room that
Yeah.
you could be using for like storage and cool stuff. Or
baby's room.
yeah, that's where the baby's gonna
Oh.
stay out. It gets cold in
Oh,
there.
you gotta
Aw.
move your beer for the baby?
No, that would be like
No,
putting,
that would be
that would be
silly.
like putting Harry Potter under the stairs if I put my kid in that room.
Is that a good thing? I don't know.
No.
No, I don't know Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
What?
I've never read a Harry Potter. I've never seen a Harry Potter.
What?
I don't know about a Harry Potter.
Intervention.
Yeah,
This
sorry
is a
guys.
whole new episode. Fanny's gonna have a Fanny.
I know. I saw that. That's why I was like, oh, that's great.
No,
That's great.
God, this interview gets worse the more I drink. We're having a
It gets
Harry
better.
Harry Potter inspired dinner party.
And when is that?
End of February.
Oh.
It's gonna be on a
What's the date actually?
I need
Do you
a
have the date?
calendar.
Come on, man. God.
Let's talk about.
Is that Harry Potter music?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna try the beer.
I'm gonna
you
try the beer as well.
Big dorks. Whoa. That is more bourbon than triple.
Yep.
You.
Once I took a sip, I'm like, Stephanie's not gonna like that.
Yep.
See, and this is why
Yeah.
you're a good friend.
No, you're not gonna. It's funny because it smells like a triple. I didn't smell any of that bourbon.
When I first opened it, I got it off the bottle.
It smells like syrup.
It does.
That's been
Kind of.
Yeah, maybe.
my sock.
Whoa, nice.
See that? Like, I don't mind this, though.
Let me get your socks, bro.
See, like, if you
Some
get...
syrup in there.
When this is new, like, this was unintentionally stored for a long time. I had it in a bag, and, like, I just forgot about it.
Unintentional aging.
But if you have it fresh, you get it both, like, that triple flavor and that bourbon flavor are almost equal.
I
You
brought.
can see my hand gestures.
I brought Cowabunga is the hand gesture he's making. So I brought this actually to. Do they have a different? They have the non-barrel age version of this, right?
Yeah.
And it looks exactly the same, except just doesn't say.
I don't think it's called Curio, though, because Curio's always been the...
I'll have to
barrel-aged
double
version.
check. Yeah. By the way, bottling 2011.
Oh, yeah.
February 2011. So this is
I knew it was on
almost
there somewhere.
8 years old. God, I have to remember, but I did bring something that looks exactly like this to Mike's house for New Year's, I think it was. And it was awesome. It was really good, but that was something you would probably like. I think it was aged in, I don't think it was aged in bourbon barrels. I'll have to go back and look at my untapped alcoholism history and find out what it is that I drank.
I'm just not a bourbon person.
You prefer whiskey over
I'm a
bourbon,
whiskey
right?
person, yeah.
What is it about bourbon that you don't like? I am getting the syrup thing now.
Yes.
Whatever
tell us.
that taste that I'm describing as syrup, which is probably not accurate because again, I'm
No,
not
'cause
great
I-
at this, but
I know-
I think it's sweetness.
Yeah.
I don't like sweet drinks to begin with. When I drink whiskey, I drink whiskey and water or whiskey and ice or whatever. But so it's that, and then there's this woodiness, which I guess is the barrel, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm learning. I don't dig that.
Ugh.
I just don't.
I do.
So.
But I also get like, because what is it that you drink? What's the whiskey that you drink?
Tullamore Dew.
I get a woodiness from that. I get a woody from that. I get a
And
woody.
that's
No, no.
why I bring it over
Yeah,
when
there
I
you
come
go.
over.
Try this.
Hey, Tony, you ready for a party?
So it's
Brandon
funny
slips
because
it in
you
my
bring
drinks,
triples
too.
to my birthday parties, and I bring whiskey to your parties at your
Yeah,
house.
that's nice.
It works out
I
great.
like that. I like the exchange there.
Yeah.
But I do taste the woodiness in that as well. But bourbon definitely has. There's a sweetness to it. I think. I don't know how long. Obviously, I think it depends on the distillery. How long whiskey stays in a barrel. How long bourbon stays in a barrel.
Mm-hmm.
But bourbon tends to be sweeter, and maybe a little more woodier.
Yeah,
I
those
know.
are the two flavors I don't.
It's not a bourbon and whiskey podcast.
Well, it's a bourbon.
No, I'm saying that's why I don't have the information.
Oh, okay.
Not saying we can't talk about
Giving
it.
my opinion. You told me this was about beer. No, so I think that's a good contrast because if we are talking about triples,
Yep.
Well, and again, normally I wouldn't have brought a barrel-aged triple, but I thought it would be a good contrast to what he already told me what you were bringing, what he was going to pick up, and I was like, I think I have one downstairs, and it's old. So just to kind of see like what the variations of styles that are out there, maybe a fresh one would have been a better like comparison.
Sure.
But just based on you describing what you don't like, you probably wouldn't have liked it anyway. So.
yeah.
Yeah, it
But I
probably
think
would have been
it-
strong.
I mean, the three that we drank are pretty different. I mean, if we were going to explore the world of triples, you've achieved your goal.
Yeah, I think if when the time comes to, well, no, we're not going to do it then. I was like, well, when the time comes to drink my triple, we should grab more triples and do it again. No, we can always come back to it in another, maybe a
I'm
year.
excited to
Maybe
taste-
maybe a year or so. Maybe a year or so we'll come back together and try some more triples.
But it would even be a good comparison to do like even that again, like like her favorite triple versus what
What I'm
gets
brewing.
brewed tomorrow to
Yeah.
see like just in comparison style, like
Sure.
for someone that really enjoys that beer.
Yeah, that's what we talk about. Yeah, totally.
We can do that. All right, we'll see, and then maybe we can figure out the side-by-side comparison of having La Fin du Monde.
Pedestrian.
Pedestrian. And I should call it Pedestrian Triple.
Just to
was-
escalate the snarkiness.
I was thinking I could call it Tony's Triple, and I was like, oh, what if I call it Triple Fannie? That's hilarious too. I think
What about like triple tone?
I think Pedestrian Triple or Triple Pedestrian or something. Pedestrian has to be in there. Done.
I think
Settled.
it does. I think it
Yeah.
does.
Triple nip. Throwback to Total Recall.
Triple Nip.
No.
Oh my gosh, hysterical.
Anyways, I like this overall.
So do I.
Do you have what's coming up for you? Because by the time this comes out, you
Yeah,
can talk.
when-
You can talk about February.
We can talk about February.
We're right now. We're not going to talk about when we're recording this. It's early January. We're still learning how to edit and put everything together. And
I'm
you
so
know,
proud
lash
of
out.
your podcast.
Thanks.
I really am. I'm
Thanks.
excited. I am extremely honored to be the first guest. Am I your first guest?
You are. We haven't
That's
had
awesome.
any guests at all. Correct? Right? I don't remember what we do. We haven't had any guests. We tried doing a couple other things. I tried doing a winter beer tasting with two of the brew club members and got 3 hours of, number one, terrible recording. It was recorded from my laptop. We didn't have a microphone. I was like, oh, we'll give it a try. There were some good parts, but the quality was terrible, and we drank a lot of beer that night.
Yeah.
There would have been some good points.
A lot of the stories about you and the brew club end with we drank a lot of beer that night. So.
It's true. Well, we're trying to stay
But-
away from that on brew days now. Now that's just when we hang out and maybe have meetings. But why don't you tell us what you got going on in February here at Fannie's and where people can find you on the internet?
Oh, okay. So February at Fannie's is a good time.
Do you need me to get a calendar out? Does that help?
It might actually.
I mean, just say
So,
let's get the real dates out.
Oh, look at see, Brandon's on top of shit. You should hang out.
Brandon's a piece of shit.
So, Brandon, Brandon just handed me his phone so I could look at his calendar. And
We don't need to like
It might
one
say
up.
scoop the poop on there, actually.
It says "scoop the poop" on it.
Whoopity scoop.
And I'm gonna say, if you could ask, maybe tell my husband to do the same thing, because that'd be great.
Damn,
Anyway.
Troy. Got called out on the podcast.
So February has Valentine's Day in it, which I think at this point has become sort of a controversial day. 'Cause
Really?
honestly, some people hate it. They're like, it's a Hallmark holiday, which actually
Yeah.
it's not, but it kind of is.
I'll be in New Orleans for Valentine's Day.
Oh, jealous. So
I'll be
anyway,
there the week after, Brandon.
I know.
we.
When will you
You're
be in
not
New? I am. We didn't even talk about
I
that.
wanna go.
You can't. Sorry. I mean, you can, but I'm
I mean, anyway,
Let's get back.
let's focus. So we make Valentine's Day about more than just romantic love.
More than words.
That's also part of it.
So you make it more like the hated love too?
Yeah, we make it all about, no, we call it Spread the Love campaign. And so we spend February doing donations. What? You're going to have to edit this part.
You know what? Start over.
Okay.
Spread the love. I know where you were going with it. Spread the love. I mean,
No.
come on. That's very...
Your wife
me.
was part of that.
Yes, she was. Oh, hey. All right, start over. Editor's
Okay.
note.
February.
You-
God damn
Let's
it.
do this again. What's going on in February?
So February is Valentine's Day. We have a fantastic Valentine's Day brunch, which happens on Sunday.
Oh, boy, it's
Oh,
live.
no.
Wait,
Your
so
phone-
is it on Valentine's Day? Or?
No, because Valentine's Day this year falls
a
on a
Thursday.
Thursday. So we will have our Valentine's Day brunch on Sunday the 10th. We have a brunch every Sunday. There's live music every Sunday. But for this particular one, there will be specials. There will be...
Brunch is fun here.
Yeah, brunch is a good time. There's heart-shaped stuff, and there's live music, and there's little crafts and Valentine's Day cards.
Not at every brunch, as a caveat.
Yeah.
I'd also, but I would like to throw out that one thing you didn't say about brunch is that it is a buffet.
Yeah.
It's not like Old Country
know-
Buffet. It's not like Golden Corral. Buffet
Right.
has a really like negative. What is it?
It just makes
Conotone?
you think,
yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound great.
Unless you're a fat guy. Buffet
Yeah.
just means
It sounds
happiness.
awesome, yes.
Yeah.
This is quality, like all you can eat food.
And just as a note, Tony and I are fat guys, so we're totally
That is
Right.
also true.
That
That
is
is
not
also
true.
true.
No, I like to describe it. Actually, we recently got a review on Google that I love. It's my most favorite review, and I hate reviews in general. But anyway, someone said coming to brunch here was like going to your friend's house who should open a restaurant.
That's awesome.
And that's exactly what we try to do. So I cook the brunch. I just cook for 4 hours straight, and I cook food, and I put it out. So it's sort of like a huge family-style party,
Yeah.
more than it is like a buffet.
Yeah, I think buffet is, and just just because all you can eat in buffet. But I did want to get that across that when
Yeah.
someone's coming here, to expect it to pretty much just be able to eat a whole bunch of really good food.
Yeah. I
As
mean,
much as you
anything
want,
where there's endless
You
biscuits and
fat
gravy.
bastard.
you
And it's
know.
BYOB, so that's
We
also
are
pretty
BYOB, so you should bring a triple to our Valentine's Day brunch.
Ah, maybe give it to Stephanie and be like, "Hey, I heard it on the podcast. Heard you like triples." Sorry. Anyway.
That would be great. So we have our Valentine's Day brunch on Sunday, February 10th. We're also doing a donation drive all through the first half of February anyways, where we're doing a Purses of Love campaign where you can drop off any of bags, backpacks, purses that are just sitting in your closet. And you can also donate, what are they? Hygiene products, I guess?
Yeah.
We fill the purses and bags with things like toilet paper and Kleenex and
Like toiletries.
toiletries and stuff. And,
And
then
necessities.
we give them to homeless shelters.
Yeah. And I'm
So
just
that's
gonna
how that-
shameless plug. It's my wife's doing.
Yeah.
Good job, Laura.
Laura does that.
And thank you, Stephanie, for hosting that stuff.
Heck yeah. So you can drop off your bags and purses or whatever sort of receptacles throughout up until the 16th, February 16th. Then on February 17th, we are doing a fundraiser brunch for the Garrido Stray Rescue Foundation, which is a foundation that finds
for dogs?
and helps stray dogs.
Oh my
Yep.
god,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So
As a
they,
cat person, I still
they
find that
pay
awesome.
all of their veterinary expenses. They dogs who have been abused, neglected, found, you name it. They find them, they help them, and
like
they
they're your own dog.
they home them. It's amazing what that group does. So we are going to have a brunch on February 17th and donate a percentage of the proceeds from that brunch to that foundation.
Man, have fun because that's gonna be packed as
It's gonna be fun.
shit.
Well, we're going to. So the foundation is going to make us sangria that day.
Cool.
We're also gonna have a local bakery that does pet treats vend it, and they're
Cool.
going to sell pet treats, and they're also gonna donate a portion of their proceeds to the foundation. So that's happening in February. We also have, there's so much going on. We also have a history of
awesome.
chocolate, the Smithsonian.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that. Your mom
Yeah.
got something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested in this.
We got this thing from the museum. Like, you can rent displays from the museum.
Like a chocolate display?
It's called The History of Chocolate, and it tells the whole story of the history of chocolate. And then we're going to make all this fun chocolate stuff to go with it. So that will be February 6th through the 16th.
Oh, my birthday into the 16th. Fantastic.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on. There's
What is it on my
chocolate,
calendar?
there's donating, there's Valentine's Day specials, there's brunch, there's all kinds of fun things happening here.
And where can everybody find this information?
You can go to our website, fanniescafe.com.
And that's FANN.
FANNIES. Actually, though, really, because I'm in charge of the website and all the social media and all the other things, if you really want to know what we're doing day to day, follow us on social media. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Just look up Fannies.
Just look up Fannies.
The Book of Face. Wait, what about the Harry Potter thing you said that was happening?
Oh, yeah. So, shit, give me that calendar again. That's the 22nd. Okay, so Friday the 22nd, we're going to have a dinner party.
February 22nd.
February 22nd.
Okay.
We're going to have a dinner party, and it's a Harry Potter-inspired family dinner party. And so we are encouraging guests to dress up.
Will there be butterbeer?
There will be butterbeer.
That's the only thing I know about Harry Potter.
There are a whole host of recipes that we're sort of sorting through right now that we're going to...
With a sorting hat?
With a sorting hat. And actually, we made sorting hat cookies. This is going to be
Fucking
so
dorks.
fun. It's going to be crazy. No, we're really excited. And the staff, this is actually something that the staff brought to me. They were like, we want to do this thing. We think it'll be really fun. So we're going to do it.
It's funny that I just said dorks because I watch cartoons and I love Star Wars, so.
Oh, hey, Rick. Rick and Morty and all
Yeah.
that other stuff you watch.
That's what I said. I'm a big dork. I just
mean,
never got
to
that.
be fair, there's a lot of stuff.
I have a hard time getting into Game of Thrones, and Laura loves it.
I've
and
never seen an episode.
I've watched like the last season, a couple. Like I like it, but I feel like how much information that I know just from what Laura's kind of told me here and there, other than the Red Wedding that I know what happens. I don't have to go back and watch
See, I
it.
don't
It's
even know
so
what that
much.
is.
It's so much television that I'm like, okay,
Yeah, I
that's
love
fine.
that show. I just watch. I just wait for Peter Dinklage scenes, and I'm like, this just carries
Yeah.
me through.
What is it? What does he say?
Same
I drink
with,
and
like-
what? I know things. Yeah, I drink and I know things.
That's, yeah.
That's a good name for a
He's
podcast.
Well, I was gonna say he's like my spirit animal, but he's not an animal. He's like my
Oh,
spirit.
you're out of here. He's your spirit
He's my
person.
spirit person. I'm like, is there
Well,
an
we are all
equivalent?
animals, aren't we?
Yeah.
I also have never seen an episode of Walking Dead,
That's okay.
ever.
I unfortunately still watch it. I'm
It's been a long time, aren't
not
they? Just
even
walking
gonna-
You say
so
unfortunate
fast?
because you're just like everybody else. It's just like, why am I still watching this?
Well, the mid-season finale was pretty good.
Yeah, okay.
That's the first time in the last like season and a half or almost 2 seasons I've actually liked an episode. Laura had fallen asleep and I'm sitting there. I'm like. By the way, nobody can see it. I'm shaking my head back and forth, and my like jaw dropped.
He's
and
drooling.
eyes like bulging. It was good. It was good. It wasn't like amazing, but it was good.
Well, the
so-
point is, I think that you
TV's
should
terrible.
maybe become a little bit more familiar with Harry Potter, and then you should join us for our Harry Potter dinner party. We also are gonna have.
I
an
own all the
Alice-
movies.
We're gonna do an Alice in Wonderland high tea party as well.
That sounds fun.
So Fannie's has high tea every Saturday at 3 o'clock, and we're the only high tea on the Northwest Side, and I feel like a lot of people don't know this about
Oh,
us.
Why don't you tell
I don't know
people
why I
what
was
I-
thinking it was a Wednesday. I was like, why are you doing a Wednesday at 3? Like, carry on.
I don't know if some people didn't know what high tea was, and this was cracking me up because
I didn't.
Tony and then Clint from Lake Effect,
That's when I was working at Lake Effect.
yeah, both didn't know what high tea was, and then at the same time we were talking about this beer that Fannie's was going to do, and I didn't know anything about beer, so it was we schooled each other. It was really great, actually. I taught you all about high tea, where you come
High tea.
midday and you drink tea and you eat finger sandwiches and specialty pastries that we make. It's a really fun afternoon. And then you guys taught me about like mash and beer.
Mashing beer. That's what we do. Mashing potatoes and making beer.
And I would like to say
Monster Mash.
that you and Clint had both said that you were going to come to high tea and raise your pinkies.
Yeah.
And
I think
neither of you have been to my high tea.
I think it'll still happen. I think we'll get a high tea and some Tai Chi as well.
I think that
One day,
when
you will raise
Fannie's,
your pinky.
I think that when our chocolate stout comes out, you and Clint should come here for tea and bring
it?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
that'd be great.
I will message Clint and let him know that you and I did this, because Clint is someone that Brandon and I also want to talk to.
He'd be great to
on
do
here.
a podcast with.
Yeah.
Clint, I'm advocating for you, buddy.
We'll see, Clint.
That
We'll
was
see.
fast.
That bottle? Well, yeah, we're already. Oh, that's all the dregs, I think, too. Thanks. All right, well, Steph.
You guys should know that Tony and Brandon are drinking a lot more beer than me,
Way more.
even though it doesn't sound like it.
Brandon and I are professional drinkers. Also, I stopped drinking beer during the week for podcast purposes. Nope, for health, because I'm getting fat. Brandon, do you have any more questions for our fine guest, Stephanie?
I don't. All questions I have been answered.
All questions.
All questions I have been answered.
Excellent.
Or I'm saving some for next time when we do our little review of our homebrew.
Yeah, you know what? And I think...
Don't want to blow my load right off the bat, as they say. Is that the vernacular?
In the parlance of our times.
Outstanding. Well, Steph, thanks a lot for having us here, and thanks for talking with us and drinking triples with us, because, nothing says a Friday
Love it.
night like some Belgian triples.
Thank you for having me as your guest.
Of course.
This is fantastic.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to drinking. Hopefully what I make is going to be good, and we'll follow up with everybody. So.
I think that it could potentially become my new favorite triple.
That's expecting a lot. Can I get a cheers in here?
Hell yeah.
It's like our World Bundy. We'll do a cheers. So cheers.
Cheers.
Clank, clank. Well, that was a fun interview.
Yeah. So just like the intro, this one is also done afterwards, which may have been a good idea for us to just kind of listen to the last couple of minutes of it. And be
Yeah,
like,
that's fine. Whatever. You guys get the idea. You
but-
just listen to the whole episode.
Yeah, so what I do know we did is we followed up on a lot of the events that are happening at Fannie, so that was cool.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there, and she's doing a lot of great things, and you and I frequent that place regularly.
Totally.
That place being Fannie's.
Yes. So yeah, this was our first episode, and we're super stoked that you guys decided to check it out. So thank you so much for that. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, and also we appreciate your patience, because we're still figuring this out, how we're gonna let this go on in the future. But we feel pretty confident that we're gonna bring you something that you guys are gonna like listening to, and that we like doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So the idea is like we'll get into a regular groove. So we'll have, hopefully in the end we'll have at least one or two great podcasts a month that we'll be putting out. And then
That's high standards.
Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we're critical of the first ones that we did, and we did a couple of those. So, ideally, we'd like to get it to where it's a weekly thing.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
I agree. I'd like it to be a weekly thing as well.
But, Tony and I, both have full-time jobs, and we're working and stuff like that. So, the idea is we'll get to the point where, if it's not weekly, at least, content will be released, on some sort of regular schedule.
I think it's realistic to say we'll probably do this at least 2 times a month if we
Yeah.
can't do it weekly. But we're going to try and do it weekly, and we'll see what happens. But, hey, man, congratulations. First podcast.
Yep.
First official podcast.
In the books.
I have enjoyed doing all the testing coming up to this and all those other recordings, which maybe one day might be released.
It'll be a
And
backlog of,
just
how did
obnoxious.
we get here?
Yeah.
Listen to this mess.
Yeah, it was great. The very first thing that we did, we sat around and drank 6 beers and talked about them. I think that one needs to make the light of the day. One day.
That will come back in some form at some point.
That'll be good. But until then, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers, Brandon.
Cheers.
Music for this episode was provided by Fluid Minds. You can find all of their music on iTunes, Spotify, and at fluidminds.bandcamp.com. Thanks for listening.